Morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. And my guest this morning, at least one of them, is Dr. Jide Johnson, Deputy Provost, Nigeria Institute of Journalism. As always, it's a delight to be with you,
Yori. And what a fantastic program yesterday.
Thank you. Oh, yesterday, that was something of almost riotous, as
well. It was very, very incisive and educative.
And we could continue. In fact, that is what we will be doing, continuing on that general theme. Today is Tuesday, the much anticipated Tuesday, when it was thought, owing to speculation, when it was thought that they would sit, the National Assembly would sit, the Senate would reconvene, principally to consider the budget of INEC for the coming elections in 2019. There are a whole set of set events, set pieces that lead up to it. But the papers this morning, first of all, there's no news from the Abuja that they are sitting, and the papers this morning seem to be explaining that for one reason or the other, either all the senators are out of the country, some of them are on holiday, some of them have gone on to Hajj. You could almost ask the question, wait a minute, is democracy on trial here? There are these processes that ordinarily should come up as set pieces, but it's suddenly becoming a much more intricate affair. How do you see this whole thing, Dr. Johnson?
Now, the idea of the Senate reconvening today, the National Assembly reconvening today, was based on an interview, an off-cuff interview, which the Deputy Speaker of the House of Rep granted, and he said that there's every likelihood that the National Assembly will reconvene today to consider, based on media report, to consider. And I wouldn't, based on media report, that the National Assembly will convene to consider the budget for INEC 2019 elections. However, the critical question we need to ask is, coming back to my own industry, which is journalism in terms of training and in terms of practice. The journalists at that training and those that have carried the report over time did not do proper investigation, did not do the proper due process that needs to be done. For example, for the National Assembly to reconvene, there are certain process and procedure that must be followed. The principal actors that can lead to is the presiding officer, who happens to be the Senate president, and he has to give an order to the clerk, who has to, through a national
notice to the clerk
that
he
needs to resume to reconvene for deliberation concern. And all of these processes were not put in place. And newspaper organization from one newspaper organization, media organization from one media organization, keeps writing and without any concrete evidence as regards to that. And that's not journalism, that's not investigative, that's speculative journalism. And it's the bane of what has affected our profession, which has affected the credibility of our industry, and which has led to the much larger debate of fake news versus real news, which is a global issue. Remember the word for 2016, the new word for 2016 was post-truth. Was the new word that was added was post-truth. That we even have another word, a higher word than truth, which is post-truth. So for me, I think that we raised the issue of the National Assembly resuming sitting today on the page of newspaper based on a statement credited to the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, who is not the principal presiding officer, and not from the clerk. And I think that what we should have done as journalists, now talking about the industry, to take the blame first, because the charity begins at home, is that we could have asked we could have sent reporters to the clerk of the National Assembly. We could have tried to get the word from the presiding officer of the National Assembly to actually ask, before we went to bed writing different stories, they will consider the budget, they won't consider the budget. And in the process, we have added more heat to the politics.
Indeed. And that is one of the issues that we might look at today. You've just raised matters of credibility as regards the press itself because of perhaps that sloppy work. You just explained it. It's sloppy work. There's also the issue of credibility amongst the politicians themselves. So between quote-unquote sloppy journalism at times, lazy journalism at times, and the sort of noted integrity crisis among politicians, where exactly are we? Is democracy in this land on trial when you look at it? Because it looks like if we're not careful, this could come apart at the seams.
Now, if you are politicians and integrity are two opposite. They belong to two opposite spectrum of the ladder. Now,
that's not as should be.
You know what? I didn't know whether it's FRD, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or Harry Truman that said that a politician is someone that will promise to build a bridge where there's no river. You know what you have over where there's a flyover. Are you getting my point? So when we talk about integrity, if you look at the integrity index of the political class globally, if you do a survey, you will discover that even if when you look at the approval rating of political class, how many have you seen that have scored 65%? How many presidents globally have scored 65% in terms of approval rating? And the approval rating is to measure the integrity index of leadership. So for you to believe on the face value...
Apart from when they're scoring themselves.
Exactly. Like Donald Trump, So, on the face value, if you look at it on the face value, politicians will claim to have integrity. But if you look at it in real terms, if you vis-a-vis the campaign promises they make when they are contesting election, and you situate it with the deliverables they have been able to deliver when they are faced, there is no political class that has integrity. So we must take whatever they say with a pinch of salt. That's why I said that we need to have gone deeper. Deeper in the sense that not to take it on the surface of what the deputy speaker was saying, but to go deeper and ask for that question. Are you getting my point? To clarify the news before we go to bed. Are you with me? So, because it's a developing story. You can break the news, but one thing we do is that we like breaking the news. We don't like tracking the news. It's a developing story because the issue that is happening in the National Assembly affects you, affects me, affects everyone, and every one of us has a role to play, and every one of us has our own share of blame to take out of it. Now, we've been giving it to the National Assembly. We've been giving it to the presidency. There's a role which we, as the custodian of the truth, as the conscience of the people, as the heartbeat of the society, the media, we owe the society a truthful account of what is happening in the society. The media is critical and central to the survival of democracy. One, it's the forum for public debate. Two, it is the platform through which people get major source of information, knowledge, and understanding of what happens within their environment. So
there's a lot of power in that sector.
That's why Section 22 of 1999 Constitution makes a provision to make the media to be what? The watchdog of the society. We know quite all right that the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary sometimes might conspire against the interest of the larger society. That is why you, the media, you are the watchdog to keep them in check, to put them in line with what they are supposed to do.
Now, you said politicians and integrity.
They are poles apart.
It's very difficult to use the two words in the same sentence, that kind of a thing. Now, is it different with the press generally? I want your impression on that. Because the press itself, perhaps, is not without its own leanings. And I don't know how much of this is unavoidable, that, look, there is no totally unbiased person, either individual or corporate. Press has their leanings, as you well know. We're talking about fake news. We're talking about speculation. You started the program by criticizing professionals who...
because an average person forms his impression based on what he sees on the pages of newspaper.
Indeed. So what is the agenda of those that are falling short of the highest standards that you say that you really pine for? What is the agenda? Is it just sloppiness, or is it a calculated self-interest as well? Is there a sense in which the journalism class is really different from the political class?
No, you see, Nigerian political
they have different professions.
Now, Nigerian political landscape and the journalism political landscape cannot be separated. They are like Siamese twins. Now, our political development, the evolution of Nigeria as an independent nation, the fight for democracy, the fight from independence from colonialism started with the advent of political journalism. So there is a symbiotic relationship, and there's no doubt about that the media set agenda. The media do not only set agenda, they frame agenda. Now, the media works in the larger interest of the society. And in the larger interest of the society, the thinking of those that came up with the news is that, the National Assembly had to reconvene for INEC issue to be considered because election is taking place in February 2019, 6 months to the election, the budget has not. But if you look at it deeper, on a deeper level, now, are we just getting to know that INEC could be having election in 2019, in July? Is it just coming to our notice? In actual sense, organized nation prepare. What I think we should have done is not for us to put the weight of the INEC budget on 2018-2019 budget, but to spread the budget of INEC over a period of 4 years, because you have election every 4 years, electoral cycle. So for this 2015-2016 appropriation bill, we will take a quarter of INEC budget. 2016-2017, we take a quarter. 2017-2018, we take a quarter. And 2018-2019, we take a quarter. That talks about organized and structured society.
Which is that's a logical approach.
Exactly.
But it might not fall into political expediency.
No, you see, the problem we have is that we try to provide justification for the inadequacies of governance. Now, governance is a serious business. Until you do what is called corporate governance, until you run governance as if you are running your own personal business. If you are planning for example, you can't put the whole budget of INEC, that's my thinking, on 1 year. And if we have been doing that in the past, it's time for us to change those processes. For us to do, let's take for example, even if the National Assembly are reconvened today, do you think that they will discuss the budget when they are not a rubber stamp legislature? When they are not a rubber stamp legislature, do you think that they would deliberate on the budget and they will approve? If they approve the budget in 1 week, they have not done a thorough job, because you've got to make a defense of the budget. You've got to, every aspect of the budget, you have to make a representation. You have to go justify why it's public fund. That the fact that the presidency presented the budget does not mean that the project should be approved sine qua non without any question being asked. So I'm talking about us putting a democratic process, building institutions. We don't have to wait until last minute to do things. Now, you see, one of the things we must point out is very clear, is this. Government is tenure-based. Democratic governance is tenure-based. Every day, there's no spare time. You have the starting date, you have the end date. And whatever you need to do it on time. You don't have to wait till eternity, because before you know it, the clock will run out on you. And if it runs out, there's nothing you can do. So for us to move forward, for us not to have this kind of tension. Now, this tension is affecting the stock exchange market, it's affecting the economy, it's affecting the society, it's affecting even the well-being of families. We have an argument among friends. It's even affecting relationships as a result of the different political divides that we have as a result. Oh, they need to sit. Oh, they shouldn't sit. Oh, they need to sit. They have to approve it in the interest of national interest. In the interest of national interest, we should have been doing this over time. I'm not giving excuses for the legislature not to sit. Neither am I making excuses for the president not to do what he was supposed to do.
So what you're saying, Dr. Johnson, is that if you, by this analysis, that if you look at it, you can't put all the pressure on the National Assembly. That, look, they are being recalcitrant, they closed, they went up on break, they're not coming in. When, as you point out, why was it in July that this was sent to the National Assembly? So that's the point you're making. That,
yeah, exactly.
Look, the National Assembly, it might not be the executives, it might not be the executives' darling exactly. You know, it might not be perfect, but...
It shouldn't even be in democracy.
Okay, but there is still the question of why did we allow this whole pressure? You're saying that with a bit of proactiveness, this could have been averted.
Yeah, you see, Uncle Yori, you know, we had issues with budgetary delay cycle. And some of us have advocated that there is a need for us to either take resumption of office of new governance to October 1st, or we take it to January 1st, so that we have the budgetary cycle. You know, every government comes in midstream. You know, Obasanjo came in May. The budget for 1999 has already been passed by Abu Salam. Then Obasanjo came and they did this supplementary budget. They did supplementary budget in May 1999. And then subsequently, every year we always have supplementary budget, because our financial cycle is broken into two. So there's the need for us to align our financial cycle, our fiscal year, with our democratic transition period. There's the need for us. Otherwise, we'll still be having this trouble. For us to avoid this problem, because for us to continue to do the same thing the same way and expect to get a different result is the beginning of insanity, like one wise man said. So if we want to change if we don't want to have this discussion every electoral cycle, there's no electoral cycle that we don't have issues with electoral act. Obasanjo had his own issue, Jonathan had his own, Yar'Adua had his own, Buhari is having his own. Now, the question we need to ask ourselves, is the problem entirely with the legislature? Because every electoral cycle, the executive seems to have problem with the legislature. Is the problem entirely with the legislature, or is a joint problem? But you know what? Usually we always put the blame at the foot of the legislature. However, it's a shared responsibility. Shared responsibility which the executive must take its own share of the blame, which my own industry, our industry must take its own share of the blame, which the legislature must take its own share of the blame. So it's not a blame game thing. It's people taking responsibility.
It's a very interesting perspective, and it's talking about sharing the blame, properly, if we must. But before I give any thoughts on that, Mr. George has come in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Yes, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Yes, and good morning to Dr. Johnson.
Good morning, George.
Uncle Yori, truth must be told. This issue is not about delaying in submission. This is not the first time a supplementary budget is being presented to National Assembly or an issue of national importance is being necessitated by the recall of National Assembly respect. This is not the first time it is happening. The truth of the matter is that Saraki is afraid of losing his seat. Let us discuss the truth of the matter. He is deliberately avoiding a resumption for fear that he might be removed from his position. You cannot eat your cake and still have it. Yesterday, I heard one of your guests in the studio arguing that why is the government trying to correct the mistake they made somewhere, that they should have allowed it to play out till the end of the tenure. I was trying to call, I couldn't reach you. Is there a law, Uncle Yori, that says that if you make a mistake, you cannot correct it? We are the voters. We have a responsibility to determine the people we sent there what they should do. The people we gave a mandate are the ones we want to do laws, are the ones we want to govern us, not impostors. I have never seen a democracy, Uncle Yori, even the American system that we borrow from, where somebody from a minority party is the Senate president. It doesn't happen. And someone is telling me that the law is silent on it, and that morality has nothing to do with law. Any law that has no moral compass cannot pass for law, because law is from the intuitive perception of men. Anything that is not morally right and you put it in a form of law, it is not to govern but to destroy. So if I were the APC, I will insist that the gentleman should leave that seat. And if he refuses, if he cannot hold the nation to ransom because he wants to eat the food that does not belong to him. Those who are entitled to the seat should reconvene the assembly and get him out. That's my view.
But it can't be done. It can't be done according to due process, because as you well know, it is only a principal officer that can give notice to the clerk of the National Assembly that the House is about to convene.
Uncle Yori, that is a rule of the National Assembly. It's not a law by our Constitution. If that principal officer is holding the nation to ransom, something has to be done.
Okay. All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in.
I can understand the sentiment of George. If I were to be in APC, I'll share that same sentiment.
I don't know that he's in APC.
No, I said if I were to be, okay. That's hypothetical. Now, if I were to be in APC, I will share that sentiment. It's valid. The party that has the majority should produce the leader morality, on the basis of morality. But we have found ourselves in a situation. But it's unfortunate that
no, there was a throwback. There was a partial throwback to yesterday's program.
It's unfortunate that sometimes we mix up issues with emotions, and we can't separate it. We are human beings, we are emotional beings. However, when the scenario played out in Plateau House of Assembly, where PDP had the majority, in Benue State House of Assembly, where PDP had majority, and they elected the minority as the speakers of the House. The records are there in the public domain. In this present dispensation, nobody cried blue mother. I think that the issue before us is critical. The Senate president, as he is now, used to be a member of APC. Now, the party that has the majority should produce. However, If you want to remove him, go through the unfortunate thing about this democracy, and we have pandered the executive, and I've given you an example. The first attempt to destroy the legislature started in 1999 with furniture allowance. Now, the unfortunate thing with this present democratic experience is that we have had former military head of states as president. And in military regime, one institution that is destroyed is the legislature. You don't have the judiciary still function, the executive still function. So military head of state have disdain for legislature. That's the first thing they prescribe with their decree. And in this present dispensation, we have had the former military head of state in 1999. Now we have the former. So the tendency for them not to understand the dynamics of working with the legislature is there. The tendency is there. And for you to survive in democracy, you must learn to work with the legislature. It is not running government as an imperial government. You must negotiate which interest. If he's talking about national interest is such an amorphous, undefined, unmeasurable thing to talk about. If you are talking about national interest, which I've explained, we knew election would take place in 2019. Why is it not part of parcel of appropriation? National interest. We knew when this government came in place, it took almost 6 months to put the executive in place.
When you have...
We shouldn't pander, we shouldn't turn this...
Let me borrow an analogy from lawyers in court when sometimes a witness is clearly essential to organizing and dispensing justice. And sometimes lawyers will complain that, my lord, I have a hostile witness here. Can I have leave? I don't know if we do that in Nigeria. Can I have leave to treat him correspondingly? The analogy is that I hear what you're saying about the National Assembly, the legislature, but when you have, as we appear to have now, if you were to go by APC's utterances, we have a hostile legislature. That hostility is what you have said. You have to get to grips with how to relate with them. That's what you say people who have had military experience perhaps might not be too good at.
They have a disdain for the legislature. Do you want to make our National Assembly to be like the state house of assemblies that we have all over the nation? Do you even know whether the legislature are even existing at the state level?
Would you disagree that the National Assembly, in the perspective of the executive, indeed, in the perspective of the ruling party, has been hostile, considering that they're on the same party?
There are several programs we have done on this issue, legislative, executive. There are issues that are resolved. The national caucus of any party. You see,
I'm sorry, can I interrupt you? And I'm going to come straight back to you. I think Mr. Deremi in Ile-Ife. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jory.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you very much. I want to make a very short contribution. I want to say that it's unfortunate. That we have to hold the National Assembly into ransom because somebody don't want to leave its seat. I believe very strongly that it will affect the fortune of this country if we have to keep an election into a dangerous situation. I therefore think that the federal government, by all means, to ensure that they convey the debate of the federal house, so that we have the budget passed, and so we can have an election. An election is very important.
Adiremi, did you say that you want the federal government to convene?
I didn't know which federal government.
The government should be able to convey, to tell the House to convey.
Okay.
To the House to convey.
Let me educate him.
But
the federal government is not the executive.
You are aware of the process.
The federal government is not the executive.
That process is being held into ransom. No. And if it's being held to ransom, that should be a kind of necessity law of some situation.
Okay. But the ruling party has said publicly, and I think the president is also of that disposition. In fact, the presidency is of the disposition that they shall do everything that they shall do within the ambits of the law.
Exactly. People tend...
Yes. And there is a process for to convene the House, the National Assembly, either the House of Reps or the Senate.
But it's holding the process into ransom. If somebody is deliberately holding the process into ransom.
Okay. If somebody is deliberately refusing to give notice to the clerk, for example,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay. But
this is not right.
Okay.
There should be a way to it.
All right. How do you break the logjam?
Let me just explain to you.
The
federal government is not the presidency. The presidency is a component of the federal government.
Yes.
The federal government is made up of the presidency, the National Assembly, and the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. Those are the three arms of the federal government. So people should have that understanding. And we hold that responsibility to educate people.
Sure.
It is not a military regime that one head of state can just issue a decree and it's done. You see, it must go through the due process. Nobody is in support of anybody holding the nation to ransom. However, the truth must be told. In the issue of emotions,
we are in very
it is on record that
we are in very unusual times. We are in very unusual.
On record that during this period, the Senate goes on recess.
Yes.
Has the president not gone on vacation? Is anybody questioning the president for going on vacation? It is on record that the Senate goes on. We shouldn't. I belong to no party. I belong to no club. But as a journalist and as a trainer of journalists, I hold the society to explain issues so that they can see.
But Jide,
are you getting my point? So the president has gone on vacation. It's not national interest. Now the National Assembly goes on recess at this particular period in time. They have a timetable. It's scheduled now. And so people should read off their emotions and look at the reason. Both parties have responsibility roles to play, and they have share of the blame to take. It is not peculiar to one individual or one organs of the government. It is even we as the fourth organ. I've said it.
I hear you.
I've said it.
Jide, I hear
Do
you.
we even ask questions on concerning the budget? Why would the president be bringing the budget for INEC on environment or supplementary budget?
Yes.
A national issue. If the presidency sees it as an issue of national interest, it should have presented it with the 2019 appropriation bill.
I hear you, Jide, and I know you are annoyed with that particular fact, that that's a lapse. But I'll come back to the whole matter of the hostility between in the same party. Of course, I said we're in very, very unusual political times. Yes, Senate President Saraki and his party are at odds. But if we have a collaborative government running here, you said it. If we have that, nobody has to be in the pocket of each other. This whole matter about, I understand that you're not of any political party. I understand that perfectly. But to now get up and go on break at a critical time, look, every law, every rule has an exception.
I agree with you.
If everything is hunky-dory.
You know, we established that in the beginning,
yes,
that for national interest, there is the need for them to reconvene.
Yes.
Because of the critical time. So, however, it should not be subject to blackmail.
I understand what you're saying.
You shouldn't use names taking.
I hear
Are you getting my point? Them calling to solve the problem. This problem.
What you're doing.
Listen, let's put it on record. This administration has a tendency of slowing things up. The Constitution of Federal Board, how many months did it take? The Constitution of the Federal Cabinet, how many months did it take? We keep pandering. I am a watchdog. I belong to so my responsibility is to explain issues the way it is.
They called it being thorough.
Okay, the National Assembly is being thorough. They need to be thorough. No. The fact that they present it to them, they should just pass it. But we don't want a rubber stamp like we have in many state houses of assembly that are non-existent.
Jide, I know what you're doing. You're being balanced. What you're doing is that, look, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be there. I want to look at the issues dispassionately.
Exactly, let's look at the issues. So that we don't have this repeating in 4 years' time.
This is becoming a farce. And as Adiremi said from Ile-Ife, the nation is being held to ransom is one perspective. But you are saying that, look, in fact, that's where you started from, that you want to be very cautious about that kind of a statement, that the nation is being held to ransom by the National Assembly. How about the presidency themselves? What about their own share?
That is the issue concerning
because it's going to come to that, and I think when I'm going to go on a quick break now. When we come back, we're going to look at the observation that these things happen. Both the National Assembly, both the presidency, both the APC, all of them, they say they're working on behalf of the people. How much is the people, what is the people getting out of all of this? Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, and we've been joined by Wale Ogunade, Barrister Ogunade is president of Voters Awareness Initiative, although he's looking very much like a senator today. He's not wearing his bib and his black coat. Thank you very much, Wale, for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
We've been having this interesting conversation. As you know, the Senate, the speculation that the Senate would resume for the main purpose of looking at INEC's budget. That's what we've been talking about from the beginning of the program. And the question came up that, look, maybe we could share blame a bit. Yes, people have called in. National Assembly is holding us, in particular the Senate President, the leadership of the National Assembly is holding everybody to ransom. People in frustration are saying, isn't there a way for it to be convened? But everybody has said, the presidency, everybody, the ruling party, that we will work only within the law. And there's no way anybody but either of the principal officers could give notice of the intention of the something to resume. But the question here is that if we had a cooperative assembly, no, I understand what people say, nobody has to be in the pocket of the other person, but these guys are in the same party. The majority are in the same party, and yet you're giving the government of the day this much of a running around. Now we have, let me say more speculation. The speculation I'm even hearing now is that, I don't know if this is true, that if we were even going to resume, if we're going to reconvene, we will reconvene in a joint sitting so that it's going to be much more difficult for anybody to achieve, I think, ultimately the objective of impeaching the Senate President Saraki, which seems to be a morbid fear of his now. Where are we going with all of this? What does all of this say to you? It's a virtual political mess.
Yeah.
And where we left off from is that the ordinary voter that put all of these guys in power is suffering. He's not getting value for money, and that's your concern, because you concern yourself with making voters aware. Is this what you're going to make them aware for? Go out with your vote, go out with your voter card, and then we get bogged down in this kind of a quagmire.
In fact, you just took the word out of my mouth. Excuse me. When the two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. We, the Nigerian populace, are the ones suffering for all this infighting between these two gladiators. The two gladiators, I mean now, the National Assembly and the executive.
Yes.
And of course, unfortunately for them, they are supposed to work together. They are supposed to be like the various parts, the combustion, the piston, and the ring in the engine. There's an engine oil that has to make them work. I don't know why they are not working together. They are from the same political party. But I guess the blame again, I'll put it at the doorstep of Buhari, when he came and said that he can work with anybody. And I've now seen that indeed. And that's why I like Obasanjo. Obasanjo knows that if you can't work with me, then I get the boot out of you. But that will be a discussion for another day, and I want people to think about that. The main issue now is that democracy is suffering. The executive presented a budget. And the National Assembly are supposed to work on the budget. And for crying out loud and clear, I'm not here as the spokesman of the president, but to me, the man, when he wanted to sign, said, no, there's a foul play here, but I don't want us to go and start all over again. I'll sign this, then later on I'll do a environment so that all these mistakes will be corrected, which I think that was a good thing to have done by a statesman. And one will expect that the National Assembly will take hint. They have sent this notice to them. Before they go on their recess, they will have just sorted this thing out. So, and of course, we will not be on this problem. But let me tell you one thing, sir. Let me just land. Yes, that's what they are doing, and forget that.
Let me come back to you, because I have a guy on the line. I'm going to come back to you for you to continue. Yeah, Akindele in Abuja, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you very much. Please, let me make my contribution very brief. I want to refer to your first guest.
Dr. Jide Johnson.
Yes. He said something that we shouldn't blame the National Assembly, that the president is also on vacation currently or something like that. I want to let him realize that there is no time that the presidency is under lock and key. The president has gone for vacation, yes, but the vice president is acting. And even in the absence of the president, we have seen the vice president signing executive orders. We have seen the president sacking the DSS boss. The presidency is not under lock and key. We are talking of a National Assembly that is under lock and key and is not even willing to resume, even at the emergency. we have to sort issues out separately, not comparing two issues that are not the same.
Okay.
The president is on leave, and he handed over to his vice. If Sharaki wants to go on leave, he can as well hand over to somebody in the National Assembly. You cannot compare what is happening in the National Assembly with what is happening in the presidency. If the presidency is shut down for one day, if the entire presidency is shut down for one day, what kind of situation are we going to have? So don't let us compare these two.
Okay.
I mean, what he's saying, yes, he can be making his opinion, no, but in comparing two things, let us make sure that we are comparing two things that are exactly the same.
Okay, and not what you seem to be saying is that this could be comparing apples with oranges.
In fact, you are comparing apple with stone. You are not even comparing two fruits. You are comparing two different things entirely.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Akindele, for calling in. Really appreciate your call. I think Jide has to comment on that.
If he's a student of history, he should understand the dynamics of what is going on. Even the president of the United States of America controls the Congress. The Republican controls the Congress.
But the point, that point that is made, that the presidency is always open.
Donald Trump sent a Supreme Court judge nominee, and Mitch McConnell,
and to that
is the Senate leader.
It's not the same. I think he's quarreling. I think he's quarreling with you comparing in the same breath.
Let me explain it. The Democrats are arguing that they should delay the confirmation of Judge Kavanaugh till after midterm election. And the guy said, no, we are going to confirm him before midterm election. There are two different institutions. The operational guideline for the presidency is different from the operational guideline for the legislature. Are you with me? So they are just using that loss. I'm just explaining, talking about national interest. Yes. The president can hand over to the vice president. The Senate president, the vacation, they all go on recess for their vacation. Every one of them. The fact that the Senate even goes on vacation does not mean that they are not doing committee work. There is a lot of ignorance that is going out there. And our responsibility as journalists is to educate people about the workings of democracy. It is not a military regime.
But the point Akindele was making for your consideration is that the presidency is always, it's never, the presidency is never on vacation.
Do you think that the National Assembly is on vacation? The committee works are not going on. I'm asking, it's a voters awareness. Is committee work not ongoing?
But that's irrelevant.
Oversight function, are they ongoing?
But it's irrelevant.
We need to educate the people.
It's irrelevant to the question at the moment because Akindele cited that, look, right now in the presidency, everything that the president would do if he were here, not one of them is missing. Is being
by
left
the calendar
undone.
of the National Assembly, are they meant to go on recess by their calendar?
Hello, Yaku. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you, Chijori. God bless the last caller. Mr. Ajide, with due respect to you, I really love your opinion every time, but this morning you got it wrong, so with due respect. You see, Mr. Ajide Johnson, let's take something.
It's Dr. Jide Johnson.
It doesn't matter.
And then I want
we have to be correct.
Passionately the way you have. See, Mr. Ajide, you make mention that the president go on a vacation. As the last caller rightly said, he handed over to vice president. Now, your reply to that question is that, is it committee, is it not going on in the National Assembly? Yes. My question to you now is that, does National Assembly committee on the committee basis, can they just consider and pass this bill or the budget into law? The answer is no. Mr. Ajide Johnson, let me point a question to you. The last dispensation in the National Assembly, if you remember, there was today almost 200 and something bill passed into law. All these things happened because of fear of unknown in person of Senate President. Fear of unknown in the sense that he knew that if he dare reconvene the National Assembly, it was fear that it may be removed. But I can tell you, if you will reconvene the National Assembly for the interest of this country, nobody is going to remove him. Even though he's going to be removed after all. But this time around, if you reconvene the National Assembly because of the Nigerian interest, because if I didn't mean that the Senate President and the executive, they are the same party, as you rightly said earlier, which they are not the same party. Even right from the beginning, they are not from the same party. We know where it belongs to. If there is the same party, I can tell you today, they will reconfirm the National Assembly and that pass this bill and be budgeted to law.
Thank you very much, Yakub. Thank you very much for calling in. Really appreciate your call. Sorry, Wale, I came to you. So the whole matter about the most important person in all of this, ordinary voter.
I have an information.
Yes.
The information reaching me this morning is that the leadership of the National Assembly met, and of course they've since met with the INEC officers, and that they have since set up a committee, a joint committee of the House, to look into the areas that will help INEC in this.
What's your source?
So that
What's your source?
Sorry?
What's your source?
It's from the National Assembly itself.
The Office of Information or the Office of the Clerk?
No. Mr. Yusuf Olaniyan.
Oh, Dr. Saraki's spokesperson.
Saraki's spokesperson. I heard him on air this morning on another station.
Saying that the National Assembly has actually
that they have
met quietly and have set up a committee to look into that.
And of course,
even if that is the case, the National Assembly is still under lock and key.
I'm going there.
It's still under lock and key.
I'm going there.
So that's just yet another device.
I'm going there.
Alongside the one that they will not sit down and meet. They prefer to meet, according to the speculation.
They normally meet as committees in some cases for specific reasons and under this type of a dispensation. But that is one. I just want to I want to align that.
I just want to share that information.
Yes,
please,
I want to align
talk to me.
I want to align that thought with what Dr. Johnson said some few seconds ago about the National Assembly working in committees. But the main issue is that when are they resuming? And that resumption, to me, is the key. And their failure to resume, they are going to shoot themselves in the leg. Or it's just an issue of cutting the nose to spite their faces, because all of them will go for election.
Exactly.
Either they like it or not. Most of them, that's the whole problem. I'm sure you hosted me when this issue broke out about the reordering of the election, that I said the whole issue is because they want their ticket first. Once they get their ticket, they care less about if the president wins or not. And here it is now. Now that it is confirmed that it is the election of the president, that's why all this wahala has come up. And we have not seen anything. Before we have some peace.
When you say we're not seeing anything, that there's going to be more turbulence.
There'll be turbulence.
There's going to be more.
There'll be wahala because it is
in
the fight of their soul.
Thank you for holding on. Good morning. Did I get that right? Benga in Abuja, good morning. We probably lost that call.
So is their political life that is at stake here, and all of them will fight hard.
Which is the larger interest of the populace. Because in actual sense, they are not. Look, if you see the evolution of it, now, if you look into the evolutions of the right to vote and the Bills of Right, the Magna Carta of 1215 came as a result of personal interest. The development of fundamental human rights is as a result of political gladiators fighting amongst themselves. And at the end of it, it is the larger society that benefits. What will happen? First, I'm not in support of this National Assembly not convening. It's important for them to convene. However, there are legitimate ways in going about it. Using subterfuge, using threats, using intimidation will not solve the problem. You see, all these approaches have not helped since June 9, 2015. And it will not help. How many months do we have to the end of? In actual sense, do we even vote for them? That's why they don't even care about us. Do we even vote for them?
We got a caller in Lekki. Good morning.
It's vote buying.
Yes, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, ma'am. ND.
Yes.
Good morning.
I want to thank Mr. Jide. Mr. Jide, God will bless you for this enlightenment. You have enlightened the populace, because when people want to take their own emotional stress to national issue, we ought to put it straight. Thank you, Mr. Jide. I appreciate you. All the time you always say the truth. Issue of vote buying, issue of differences, I always listen to you. And you have enlightened the people. Listen, Uncle Yori, we are doing things that is wrong. When the thing comes, they will keep on blaming people. National Assembly is not where people go. We elect the people there for a purpose. And the executive has the responsibility to do the things that is right, so that at the end of the day, we will not apportion blame. This administration, they have been taking us steps, they have been dragging us backward for long. Just to put your minister, you take 6 months. Everything backwards. You know that they will do election in 2019. What stop you to include?
Oh, Thank you very much. But there you go, aligning herself with the analysis of Dr. Johnson. Indeed, as is the right. But we're saying at the end of Madam Josephine, ND just said there that we elected those people for a purpose. So I'm coming back to the people, the ordinary people. They seem to have been lost in all of this picture. The main players, the presidency, the National Assembly, all of these people, even the ruling party itself, and the ordinary person that everybody or every one of them purports to be serving. What's his part in all of this? And you being the voter awareness initiative guy, what does this leave you with to really go out there with when in your next round of campaign?
Well, it leaves me with the only thing it leaves me with is to tell them that you better open your eyes very well. Like Madam Annie said, or ND, or what?
Or Josephine.
ND.
ND.
It's not that we send them to represent us, but obviously they are not representing us. I crisscross this country. Even if we don't crisscross this country, we all live in various communities. Yeah. We know that our various communities are not well represented in terms of deliverables of democratic dividends. Their roots are not there. God help anybody. The other day, a colleague of mine was telling me that he had issues. He had an accident somewhere in Okiodo area. He has to be rushed. There is no health facility whatsoever.
But yesterday,
let me learn, sir. Between that Okiodo and Ikeja, and you know the traffic situation there, it's only God that helped him. They took him to Ikeja, and of course, he did not make, they had nothing for him. They had to take him back to Lut. It was just the hand of God. My own professional colleague, Bamidele Aturu, he lives somewhere in Cement there. Before he could get to Ikeja General Hospital here, the man died. Why? Because there are no facilities. And that's one of the problems we have about these people going, but they are busy fighting tooth and nail because they want to save their political career. Well, but they are not saving and working towards saving lives of people that send them there, as that woman has said.
To align my thought with what he has said. Now look at the cross of take the parties away. They are the same. Take the parties. Most of them are former governors.
Let me come back to you because Divine has been waiting for a long while. And by the way, a learned colleague of his said here yesterday that don't talk about morality when we're talking about politics or law.
They don't have morality. Politicians don't have morality.
No,
Divine, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Professor.
Thank you very much for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to your guest in the studio.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah, the issue of election in Nigeria and even the representative and the senators and the executives. You see, the issue of what you are saying is that the issue of passing bills. We cannot say that this government...
No, sir. Sorry, Divine. The National Assembly being under lock and key, metaphorically speaking, is what we're talking about here.
The issue of National Assembly being on lock and key is uncalled for. It's uncalled for, and it was planted by the government in power. Let us not shy away from the truth. In fact, we are not practicing democracy any longer. We are practicing dictative government. I have said it and I'll keep on saying it. Until they remove the IG of this state, of this nation, they cannot practice politics. And even the chairman, these people, they are misleading us.
So where Divine, where do you place the blame for this imbroglio? Where exactly do you place the blame? Is it the National Assembly being recalcitrant? Or, as Dr. Johnson said, the blame can be shared perhaps more equitably?
No, it's not equitably. I blame it directly to the executive.
It's the executive that you take all of the blame.
All the blame.
Oh, okay.
100%.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in.
We are not even going to the issue of accountability and looking at the money that has been budgeted for concerning INEC. Everything was swooped under INEC. The total money for INEC is 121 billion. The rest of the money were broken down. One for security, to buy torchlight, to buy, you see, beyond the issue of the election, Some of the things that we use to sweep things under is national interest. What is national interest? I've attended many conferences, many seminars. There was a time I was in Unilag doing my master's that they brought the security attaché of America to come and explain national interest, and he couldn't even explain what national interest is. So when people use it, I just laugh at them that they know. But national interest is the personal interest of the occupier of the office. Of the office.
Which shouldn't be.
We shouldn't be. However, that's how it is defined.
And so this is the problem.
In our own context.
So how are we going to, I think because we have only 1 minute more, how are we going to get out of this log jam?
The problem is that we should stop anybody that has been a governor to go to the National Assembly. One of the solutions to solving our problem.
Okay.
You can't come with an executive mentality.
Okay.
To the legislative.
One
of the solutions.
You endorse that. That's part of the problem. But that's the happy retirement grounds of all.
That's what we want to stop.
From Senate President Saraki to Akpabio to all of them. All of them.
You see, we are in this problem because all those people who dominate the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, are all those who have been involved in power, and of course they now want to flex muscle. Is about ego tripping, and of course because it's about ego tripping. The issue now is that all voters should just discard these people. They have no business whatsoever in the new government.
I wish you luck because Voters Awareness Initiative, you being the president of it, that is probably one of the messages that you will be putting out. And Dr. Jide Johnson, Deputy Provost, Nigerian Institute of Journalism, thank you very, very much. Again, as I always say, shout out to Mr. Gbemiga Ogunleye. The provost.
I'll surely do that.
All right.
He's on vacation.
He's on vacation. Is he allowed to go on vacation?
Exactly. Our school is not under lock and key.
School under lock and key?
No, I'm acting provost.
That's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.